Welcome, everyone. My name is John O'Grady, and I'm the president of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. We started these online conversations back in April to provide residents with direct information that center around aid that's available during this outbreak, with safety tips and other useful information. We think these are important because the numbers keep getting worse every single day. Today, we had a new daily high in Ohio with 1,733 cases. We've gone from the very first coronavirus case on March 9th, where today we have more than 89,000 cases and almost 3,500 deaths in the state now, as of the 30th of July. In Franklin County, things continue, and we have the highest number of cases and deaths in the state of Ohio. We have 1,600, almost 16,700 cases and over 500 deaths. Unemployment claims have reached more than 1.5 million during this pandemic, which is more than Ohio saw in 2017, 18, and 19 combined. All of this is not news to my guests today. So we did a segment a few months ago on the restaurant industry, and it was very well received, which is why I wanted to do another one. So we brought in our guest today, new guest for the restaurant industry. We have Shanna Dean, who is with the Lifestyle Cafe in Old Town East. I'll wave to everybody, Shanna. We have Megan and Connor Dempsey from Dempsey's Food and Spirits downtown near the courthouse. And we have Chris Hale, an old friend of mine from Hale's Ales in the Mill Run area. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. I should make a couple of important notes here. There are 22,547 eating and drinking establishments and locations as of 2018 in the state of Ohio. 585,000 food service jobs in Ohio, which is 10% of the employment in the state. The restaurant industry was the nation's second largest and fastest growing sector with 13.5 million workers. And it was also the lowest paying sector. Every year, the U.S. Department of Labor puts out a list of the 10 lowest paying jobs, and 7 of the 10 are always restaurant jobs. And that has a lot to do with the sub-minimum wage for tipped workers, which is $2.13 an hour. $24.2 billion is estimated sales in Ohio restaurants in 2018. I give you all this information because for a lot of reasons, this industry is near and dear to my heart. I'm a former restaurant owner. Megan's husband, Mark, and Connor's father. Connor's my godson. Chris is one of my former business associates. This is an industry that is near and dear to my heart, and so and it's something that I've been working on. Shanna's business partner, Derek Clay, is one of my great friends, and this is an industry. This is also an industry that I've been working on as a county commissioner for the last 12 years. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart, but it's also something that's been hit very, very hard during the pandemic. So it's a great topic of conversation. So that being said, I want to before we get into the questions and we let everybody speak, I want to remind our viewers, if you have questions for our panelists tonight, or if you have comments that you want to make, just enter them in on Facebook Live, and we have plenty of folks that will forward those questions on, and we'll do our best to get them answered. So let's go ahead and get going. First off, if all of you could, we'll go one by one, but if all of you could tell our listeners about your restaurant, where it's located, how long you've been in business, what your specialties are. Just talk up your place. Let us know a little bit about your spot. Let us know, tell us all you can. Brag on yourselves as best you can, Let's start with Shanna. Let's start with you. You're muted. You're muted. So you got to unmute.
Unmute. There we go. Well, I am the executive chef and creative force behind Lifestyle Cafe. And we are a 100% plant-based, all-American eatery. I would say we have a very familiar menu, BLTs, smoothies, salads, sliders, chicken and waffles, things like that. So an all-American menu, but just 100% plant-based, which has definitely been a challenge, but we've definitely impacted some people's lives in that they say, when they come in there and eat, they say, if I could have access to plant-based food that tastes like this, I could be vegan. So we have a lot of customers like that. And then, of course, our bread and butter is the vegan and vegetarian community in Columbus. So we've been doing very well. Our grand opening was January 20th, and we've just been adapting and moving and shaking with the times until now.
Well, if you can make it through this, you should be fine, huh?
I'm telling you.
Well, we have a vegetarian. She's not vegan yet. She hasn't made that stretch, but we have a vegetarian here. So, and you are right around the corner in Old Town East. We're right around the corner from my wife's office. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, I have not been there yet, but my wife has been there and she endorsed it. So,
Nice.
All right, let's go to the Dempsey duo there. Meg.
Yeah, we've been in business since March 2012. We're breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My husband Mark used to say that we're one shift shy of a Waffle House. That's in normal times. Since we've reopened, we're just trying to capitalize on our best times of business, which for us is during the week, lunchtime. So we're open from 10 to 2 now during lunch, and then on the weekends from 8 to 2 for breakfast. So hopefully we'll add shifts or, we'll extend our times as we go. But right now it's just, there's not a lot happening downtown. So, but we're known for, I would think our burgers are the best. Breakfast is my favorite on the weekends. Yeah, we have an awesome Bloody Mary bar that we can't have right now, but in normal times we do. So, yeah.
I noticed that Celia got a breakfast item named after her. She's pretty proud of that.
Yes, yeah. My kids have been pestering me to put their names on the menu with dishes. So she got the burrito.
She's one of the few non-politicians with her name on the menu. That's good stuff.
That's true. And Michaela, our daughter Michaela got a breakfast item too.
Nice. Welcome to the club.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Chris, tell us about your place.
Okay, we're in Mill Run, Hilliard area, right off 270 in the Mill Run or the Cemetery Road exit. Me and my family, we've been here running a family, more or less sports bar for 6 years. We do anything from burgers, wings, probably known best for our stromboli, wedding soup. I have a chef, business partner, Todd Harkrow, John, that that specializes in soups and stuff. So we got a little bit higher end menu than just normal like bar food, but it's been serving us well here, and we get a lot of good business from the locals around our city right here. So not only that, we got two outdoor patios, a front one that's covered and an outdoor back patio that has 2 bocce ball courts on it. So, we're here open, ready for business, ready for everybody to come back.
Yeah, it's Chef Todd, my wife that loves the Italian wedding soup. It's some of the best wedding soup in Columbus, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And on a normal Sunday, you go to Hales Ales in the fall, and There's no place to sit because of football, the number of football games that Chris has on TV. Dempsey's is is the home of the Notre Dame fan club, correct? Saturdays in the fall.
Yes.
You got for the Notre Dame game. And Shannon,
Yeah.
you got
Great.
a brand new endeavor. I mean, you're just getting off the ground here. So you're just building the reputation, but you're one of the up and coming vegan places in town now.
Yeah, it's exciting.
All right. Well, so we have three places to brag on, 3 places to talk about. All right. Tell us a little bit about what COVID-19 has done to affect the daily business. Each of you has a different story to tell, I know, just from knowing the place and knowing what's going on. Each of you got a different take on how the pandemic has impacted the business. So, Shanna, let's again start with you because you just opened, and then you were open for what, 8 weeks, 10 weeks maybe, and then all of a sudden you got a shutdown order. So talk to me about
our grand opening was January 20th, so it was about 6 weeks maybe before everything started really happening. People started talking, and then of course we ended up with the order to close down. And for all along the way for Lifestyle Cafe, honestly, has been I mean, at every obstacle we've had assistance. We've gotten over every obstacle without, things just coming crashing down to the ground. I think I'm really actually grateful for the situations that have happened so far because, as a restaurateur, as a restaurant owner, there's, a lot to overcome anyways. I mean, just to have longevity. So to go through these things kind of early and be able to navigate the types of assistance that are available, to be able to navigate what, through the vendors, like some of our vendors were not performing when we came back. So like to have a grand opening with a new concept and a new, area for me anyways, it just when it would get overwhelming, then something would happen and we figure everything out. I think it's kind of a blessing also to be kind of small and very flexible and able to adapt. So there's not a lot of channels that we have to go through in order to make decisions that affect the restaurant because, when things happen, just kind of overnight, it seems like, you need to be able to make decisions quickly. So we were able to do that. The CARES Act has definitely been beneficial for the Lifestyle Cafe. And the community support has been tremendous. So I don't have a boo-hoo story, but it's definitely been filled with ups and downs and needing to, really understand or like, for instance, see what the trends are for customers, and when you say trends, you kind of think of behavior over time, but we have to watch the trends that are happening for 2 and 3 days and make adjustments. So like, as for example, when we came back, it was like, do we have a dinner shift? And we kind of paid attention and, and we were like, okay, yeah, have a dinner shift. And then when we came all the way back, it was like, all right, let's take the dinner shift away because we can't handle all of this overhead when patrons are not really comfortable coming out and dining in public spaces. So it's definitely been a lot of ups and downs, all in a little tiny 6 months. So I'm thinking I'll be an expert in about 6 months. So, but it's been good though.
Good. Connor and Megan.
Well, when the shutdown happened, it was 2 days before St. Patrick's Day, which March for Dempsey's, you know, we're an Irish pub too, as well as a restaurant. And March is when we make our operating money for the year. So it was a blow that we had to close. But like Shanna, the CARES Act was a lifesaver for us. We wouldn't be here without it. And it gave us enough float to be able to get through and pay rent and utilities and be able to pay some of our people and actually do some updates around the restaurant that needed done. And we just took it slow. We didn't open up right away when everything was able to reopen. I just wanted to kind of sit back and watch and observe what other restaurants were doing and kind of take notes from them. And I have to say the ingenuity in this industry is outstanding and amazing. And I'm pretty proud of it, of just fellow bar and restaurant owners and the grit that they have is pretty outstanding. But you know, it was okay to take that time. I think we needed it, and it gave us time to be thoughtful about reopening safely. My biggest concern is our staff and our customers, and we want to make sure everyone is safe. And that was, I think, waiting for us to reopen was the best thing for us.
That's great. Chris?
Yeah, John, I was in a similar situation with Megan too, where right off the get-go coming in, off the shutdown, you know, March, we have St. Patrick's Day, we have March Madness, where those weeks and that money carries me all through the summertime, because the summertime's slower for our business. And without having that, and as soon as that shutdown happened, you know, I was devastated, because I was wondering, where is the rent money going to come from? Where's the tax money going to come from? And going down to just to go, to be honest with you, there ain't no money in to go, for at least for me anyway. You know, we set up, you know, the Grubhub, the DoorDash, all that, but the profit goes to those companies. You know, when you're given 23 to 34% profit to a carryout company, and you're only able to make what you're making is not that good. But you know, right from the get-go, you know, I have a family-run business. My whole family's in here. So as soon as we were able to get back open, you know, right away, I wanted to do the most thing to make our customers safe, and my family and our patrons, everybody safe. So you know, since we opened back up, you can't even come in my door without getting a temperature taken right now. And in order to do that, you know, not only that, I've had to hire another guy, which is a salary out, to seat people, take people's temperatures, especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you know, at our busiest time. Also going around and monitoring. You know, that's big in my business, because I got a 6,000 square foot place. And what happens is, when people first come in, everybody remembers the rules. But, you know, after a drink or two, then they want to go, they see somebody across the bar that they want to go talk to, you know, then you're constantly reminding them, hey, you got to sit down. You can't stand with a drink. You can't do this. You can't do that. So it's more or less a glorified babysitting job right now, where, you know, I don't mind doing it, but I just hate to be the bearer of bad news to all the customers, because they all understand at first, but then after I got to go tell them to sit down 6 times, it's not becoming too fun of the business that I originally got into. But you know, we're here sticking it out, and hopefully all our customers will come back.
Well, Chris, I remember those days of being in that business with you, and I'll be honest with you, that part of the business I don't miss, buddy. And I know
Oh.
and I know you so
That's
well,
why I had to hire somebody to take over that part.
and I know you hate it, so I get it. Some
And
of the
somebody a little bit smoother of doing it than me.
So you were talking about carry out. Some of the restaurants that stayed open with carry out. I know Megan, you guys obviously didn't do that. Chris, you did it, but you talked about not being successful with it or not as much as we did carry out from you quite a bit. And I know my in-laws all did, and we all came in and picked it up. Shannon, did you do carry out much?
Yeah, we actually, I'm just one of those people, like I really wasn't interested in it when we first opened because I had my hands full with the whole brand new restaurant. So I didn't have Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash or anything when we first opened up. But of course, with the pandemic, I signed up for all of them.
Just like me.
And it wasn't the nightmare that I expected. You got these tablets, they're taking, like he said, an average of 30%. And just logistically, it just, puts a thorn in your side. But of course, we're thankful to be able to have that, especially for the guests who want to still eat lifestyle food or, eat your food where we're thankful that they can get it. But the profit margin is not there. And then in the restaurant industry, the profit margin is not there anyways. So to have to deal with, figuring out how to make it worthwhile while you're using these companies that are taking 30%, is definitely a challenge. And again, like Megan said, the CARES Act did fill in, so that we could keep going, because one of the things as a new restaurant that you don't want to lose is momentum. So that, it was important for us to keep going, and not just kind of, just disappear. So we just had to do what we had to do. But even now, just trying to pivot and, just for Megan and Chris, their DoorDash and Chowly is what we ended up, there's a solution, and we just went live today where we are offering delivery straight from our website. And we're leveraging DoorDash's dispatching system and their drivers to offer delivery to our customers, where it's like we're offering direct from our website. And there's still a fee, but now this fee, the customer can take a little bit of that fee and we take a little bit of the fee, because I think people understand that it costs to have things delivered, and they're willing to pay for that convenience. Because customers ask me all the time, like, how much do they take? And,
Right.
And also, you don't get your money for 7 to 10 days.
hello. Exactly.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Cash flow.
All right, everybody being honest, raise your hands. Who at least once in the last 3 or 4 months thought about, man, I really wish that back in the day I opened a pizza shop. Because those guys, Chris is not raising.
It blocked out. I didn't hear it.
Because those guys are making money. Those guys.
No, they're fine.
Yeah, they're making money. I had Leo DeSabato on here the last time, and I think they're probably still doing okay at Amelia's, right, Chris?
They're doing record numbers without even being open.
Right.
Yeah. The bar isn't even open, but the pizza place is, and they're doing record numbers.
The spot, yeah.
So here's one. I swear before this is over, I'm going to get Connor to talk. So what safety measures have you guys put in place over the last month or so since when the shutdown ended and you guys were allowed to have customers come back into your place? I haven't, like I said, I haven't been in lifestyle. My wife's been in, but I haven't been in because you've only been open for a few months and I haven't gotten over there. But I was in Dempsey's a couple of weeks back, and I've been in Hales Ales off and on picking up carry out food over the last few months. So I've seen your places. But what safety measures have you guys put in place? Let's go with let's start backwards and go with Chris this time.
Well, like I said before, John, of course, right at the get-go, as soon as you come in the door, everybody has to get their temperature taken. Before, it was like a free-for-all. Anybody could walk in, sit down wherever you wanted, make your way through the bar. Now I got a station at the front door where nobody can just walk in. As soon as you come in, you got to get your temperature taken. Then we ask, you want to sit inside, outside? We walk you to your seat. Let you know during that time the rules. Hey, anytime you're getting up, mask is required in all common areas of the bar. You're going to the restroom, keno machine. Only time you're allowed to remove your mask is, when you're sitting at your table eating. And also, like I said before, I had to bring in a new guy to occupy that job. Not only that, I got a couple bar backs now that I got to go around and just roaming the floor, making sure nobody's getting up, walking over to another table, making sure that they're not standing with drinks, making sure that they're not, they got their masks on inside, outside. It's really become a babysitting job in here, in order to do everything right and to make the customers feel safe. And I don't really mind doing that because a lot of my customers have told me this is the only place they've been since we've opened, since everything's opened back up. They go, we've been to a couple other places, and right away, as soon as we walk in, we don't feel comfortable. Nobody's taking temperatures. People are walking around without masks. That's kind of what I've done from day one. As soon as we've opened back up, making sure that mainly my staff is safe, my family, and our and our customers.
Well, and Hales is a big, spacious place where the tables were pretty much spaced out to start with. But did you do any
Yes.
of? Plus, you did spacing.
Yeah, I had to rearrange. So I'm operating about 50% of capacity of what we normally do with removing tables and bar seating. The biggest thing is, the bar seating. You got to be 6 foot apart. So, I got a bar that seats 35 people, but I can only put 12 people around it. So, that hurts a little bit, since in my business, everybody, especially single people, like to come in and sit at the bar.
Yeah, it's a big, spacious place that's usually pretty spaced out anyway. But I knew from the last time I was in there that you had also spaced it out even more, as did Jesse's. Megan, do you want to, and Connor, why don't you step up here and talk about some of the things that you guys have done?
So we had Steve come in from the health department, and we had it all spaced out, had to cut, like he just said, about 50% of the seating, but thankfully it's a very elongated restaurant, so it's pretty spaced out to begin with. Just retraining the staff on the proper procedures and safety guidelines and cleaning, which was a good thing actually. And thankfully we don't have to do too much bar babysitting. We're not open at night, but everyone's pretty good about it. I've had to explain to a few people. They had no idea about the rules, and thankfully they learned quickly and obeyed them.
I know Megan was explaining to us about some of the cleaning materials that you guys purchased for special cleaning materials as purchased as well.
We bought something called BioEsk. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. And it's hospital grade cleaner, which I was hoping to be able to use all day, in between customers, but it's pretty powerful. So we just use it at night when we close, but we make sure that we wipe down all commonly touched areas, the doors, all the tables and chairs, things like that I think have been pretty good. It's just good things to do anyway. And the health department, the Columbus Health Department, our inspector, Steve, he was awesome. He came out a couple times and it was very collaborative. He helped us rearrange the room, and he told us tips and tricks, things that he's seen other people do. And that was so helpful. That was a great resource for us.
Yeah, the folks at both the Columbus Health Department and the Franklin County Health Public public health are fantastic, and they're more than willing to work with everybody. Shanna, how about you?
Our story is, of course, a little different because our space is like this big.
Yeah.
So, whereas we had a capacity of about 21 people, I want to say, now it's 8. So we have 8 spots inside, and then outside we have a couple tables in the back and a couple on the side. So, in terms of cleaning, it's not as difficult because it's a small space, but then it's a small space. So our capacity is just, very stifled. And we used to have, we had people, shoulder to shoulder in there on the weekends. And so now it's just like, we got to make sure that our carry out situation is good. And we're also self-service. So a few of the things that we've done are, well, we always had, sanitizer by the kiosk, and it's kind of up to the guest to make sure that they do that. So we provide signs for heightened awareness, but I think people are aware already. And then we have changed the way that we do to-goes, like where when you come in, your food is ready right there at the front. You just pick it up and then you go. You may have to sit there, and then we have a person who roams the floor and, of course, sprays the common areas and the tables in between guests. But the frightening thing about it, just to be, transparent, is it's hard to clean every surface after every touch. And that's a challenge. So that's where we have to depend on guests to really use good judgment and have their own kind of heightened awareness as well. Because I can't guarantee that, every spot is wiped down after someone touches it. It just is not. And even in a small spot. So I imagine in a bigger spot, that's, quite a challenge basically, but we have changed a few things. We got signage. I made our restroom not public anymore because, again, we have a small staff, and that's what it has allowed us to survive. But also it makes it a challenge because we can't run in the bathroom and clean it after someone uses it. So I'm just like, it's not a public restroom. If you have an emergency, you can use the restroom. But we're just letting you know, wash your hands and be careful. We do ask that our guests wear masks. Our staff all wears masks, and sometimes that's difficult because it cuts your oxygen levels. It gets hot, when you're in the kitchen. So they're like, tired of the mask, but it's there for our safety. So we enforce it in the kitchen. It's just we just have to deal with that challenge. But we do ask the guests. We don't necessarily kick them out if they don't have a mask, and it's different because my demographic, my customers are generally health conscious customers, and a lot of them are very confident and they're walking around with no mask, and so when they come in, it's just like hey, you try to bring their attention to the signs or whatever, but I haven't gone to the point of making anyone leave. But we have heightened our sanitary practices. But in the food industry, you have to have that on point anyways. So
now that we've talked all about, this, what you guys have done to protect your customers, and what you've done in terms of safety measures, what has been the reaction of your customers to what you guys have done, and how important is their reaction to you guys? How important is that to you? That you make the place safe for your customers, and what's been your customers' reaction to that?
Oh, to me, your customers are your lifeline. So you definitely want to feel the pulse. And I have a mixed bunch. I have some people that are just not concerned, or just kind of lackadaisical about it. I can't take that attitude. But then I do have some customers where one of my line cooks, they weren't being understood. So, you know, she puts her mask down a little bit and says what it is that she has to say. And the customer was like, the mask only work if you wear them. And, you know, so people are frightened. And then that causes me to have to take that opportunity to train, you know, the line cook, like, you know, I understand, but we're just gonna have to speak as clearly as we can from behind the mask. And so, you know, there's little problems like that, but it's very important to us that all of our customers feel comfortable. So, you know, we've just tried to adapt, and while we're not kicking anyone out, just make sure that all our staff has masks, and, you know, we just try to keep our finger to the pulse.
Megan, Connor?
We have a box of masks that we keep by the front door at the host stand so that when people forget, and we've only had to give out a couple of them. Most people are really aware and pretty good about it. There's been a few times, just today, a couple times, people getting up to go to the restroom and they just forget to put their mask back on. And we say something and they're like, oh, okay, I forgot. But generally, people have been pretty good. We haven't encountered anybody that's refused to wear a mask. You know, it's insane that it's an act of bravery to go out to dinner or to lunch, you know, but people have been great.
Chris, have you had any? What's your?
You know, like I said from day one, John, I went all in with this, you know, because my whole family's here, anywhere from my 86-year-old dad to my 84-year-old mom that come in every day. So right away, I knew I couldn't do anything to hurt them. So, you know, taking the temperatures on everybody that walks through the door, not letting anybody roam around, making sure everybody's seated. Also, you know, we also have hand sanitizer on every table. I got disinfectant spray on every table just in case if people want to clean their own menus. And I think it's been really good for me in this area because we have a lot of customers saying the same thing. This is the only place we go because we really appreciate what you're doing to keep us safe and making sure that everybody that walks in your building here is wearing their mask. But, you know, still today, this morning, John, I walked in the door. I got 6 signs out before you even come in, says, wear a mask, standing at the front door with no mask. And as soon as I told him, you got a mask, he pulls it right out of his pocket, puts it on. Really, you're going to come up to the door, you're going to stand here with no mask, then as soon as I ask you, pull it right out, put it on. I mean, I don't understand the defiant of people sometimes. But other than that, we got a few customers that are like that, but, you know, mostly everybody's been falling in line, coming in with a mask and feeling safe. So that's basically all I can do here.
Well, you guys all know how I feel about masks, so.
I wasn't going to say it.
I don't know. How do you feel about masks?
Well, I've caused a stir or two in my time about masks, that's for sure.
Okay.
Just wear the damn mask.
Just
Wear the mask.
Please put it.
Megan wasn't gonna let me get through the show without saying it, so we're gonna go ahead and say it. All right, so before we move on, we have a comment. Griffin Glaze, who's a regular commenter on the show. We love you, Griffin. Thanks for watching again. Griffin has been doing his part for sure. I know he has to disinfect everything and keep all things clean. Griffin is definitely been helpful throughout the pandemic to make sure that everything is getting clean. All right, let's change topics here a little bit. Throughout this time, let me ask a question about your suppliers. Have you guys had, all the different industries have been hit in different ways. Curious though, with the different mandates that the state's put out, have any of your food suppliers been impacted? Have you guys had difficulty getting deliveries, food deliveries, or any other types of deliveries of your supplies throughout this time? Let's start with Shanna here.
So We're actually in the middle of our baker is not in service right now. She had to take a few days off, and so we, we just understood that. I mean, a lot of businesses went down to the point where they're relying on just a few people, and so those few people are working long, hard hours during the time when everything was shut down. But the restaurants, I was working long hours doing, prep, breakfast, lunch, and then a dinner shift. And then if I'm understanding your question right, it's about the vendors, because there's been for our business is very nichey. Okay, so we can't just get all of our stuff from GFS. So we get our inventory from a lot of different vendors. One of our core values is local. So we had a very big interruption in terms of being able to get the things that we normally have. We also retail quite a few things. So, and our retailers are local businesses. So we just had to deal with those blows and not have those products available. And then when it came to the inventory, as far as the food inventory, we just had to switch to the bigger chains and take that hit, because quite frankly, GFS, is not always affordable. Like there's some things that you pay for that are just more expensive because you have the convenience of having it delivered to your store. And they, I don't know if, the audience knows how logistics works, but it costs money to be able to have all of those different things that a restaurant needs in the warehouse and have that distribution system. So we kind of had to rely on that and pay that price. Again, the CARES Act filled in some of the crevices for us to be able to do that. So, but a lot of our vendors were not producing during the time. So we just had to cut our offerings down to what we had available, and it did change our menu. But now we still have that menu, that same menu, the COVID quarantine menu, because it was one of those learning things that we learned along the way. Like having a whole bunch of things on your menu is not necessarily the thing that you want to do. So when we crunched that menu down during the quarantine, it was like, okay, I saw clearly, like this was a good idea. So the good and the bad, and then there's the ugly. So.
Megan and Connor.
Before we decided to reopen, we trimmed our menus, our lunch and dinner menu and our breakfast menu down a lot, just so that we could run as lean as we could just to try to survive this time. And luckily for us, Mark always went to Restaurant Depot probably every day. He did it. So we were always in the habit of that's where we go. That's our supplier. Sometimes we do GFS, but like Shanna said, to have anything delivered, it's really expensive and out of the question for us right now. So, but we did have to trim our menu down a lot. And we're hoping to introduce things back in as we go along, but it was a necessary evil that we had to do.
Chris?
We only had a few issues with our vendors. Mainly our food. We could get all our food. Every now and then we weren't able to get a certain item here or a certain item there, dealing with GFS, RDP, and also Restaurant Depot, which I used to see Mark Dempsey in all the time. And I'd holler at him, "Hey, Mark, what's going on?" So I see him in there at least once a week or so. But our main issue's been with the beer suppliers. Those guys, Columbus Distributing and Superior Beverage, was not ready to open back up. So when your main beer that you sell is Bud Light, you can't get it. I thought there was an issue there. We weren't able to get Bud Light and bottle or keg for like 2 weeks when we opened. So, ours wasn't more or less of the food issue. It was more or less of the beer and liquor issue that we couldn't get.
That's
very
the
much
much
time.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's,
Me either.
that wasn't one of the questions on the list that I was prepared to ask. I hadn't thought about it being difficult to get liquor and beer.
Well, because even though Columbus Distributor or Budweiser's based out here, a lot of that beer is sent out of state. So the local distributor has to order it from Columbus Distributing, and those guys just dropped the ball on that. They didn't really know when the governor was going to let us open back up, so they weren't ordering any product, and most of the product was going out of state.
Sure. That's interesting. Well, so I want to make sure that the folks that are watching are getting a sense of the heavy blow that the industry is taking, and that all of you guys had to take over time. I mean, every restaurant, and you guys know that I know a lot of restaurant owners. And so everybody that I'm talking to is in survival mode. They're all trying to figure out, how do I get from now until the day that life, back to normal, whatever normal ends up being, and customers can come back and feel free to, eat in restaurants, and life is back to where it used to be. And so, I'm trying to make sure that folks understand, what kind of a blow, everyone's taken here. So, I know, I mean, I had the conversations with Megan and Connor about what March was like when you guys had stocked everything up for St. Patrick's Day. Everything got shut down. You donated all the food to either to the food bank or the mission. You sent food home with families that worked for you, and you decided to, the liquor can wait, and you can hold on to it. And even though there was a sell back to the state and everything else, you had to make those decisions. Chris, I've been in your place during March Madness, and so I know what you guys had to be preparing for in March. And I've been, I know what it's like in Hales Ale during the summertime. Shanna, you guys were preparing for your first summer, so you don't exactly know what business was like last year at this time. But I guess what I'm trying to get is, what would a normal, late July, early August look like in your places? What would you guys be preparing for the fall? And how would this time be? Because the general public, they're going about their day. They're trying to figure out, kids going back to school virtually. They're trying to figure out working from home still. They're trying to figure out, how their life is impacted. And I'm trying to give them a sense of how deeply this blow has impacted you guys, and where this is going. So if you guys could tell me how, from your world, and Shanna, if you don't mind, I'm going to give you a second to think about this, because you're on year one here. I want you to give you a second to think. Well, I'm going to let the two that have been in business a little longer think about this, and I'm going to let Chris go first, because he's been in, even though he's only been in his particular business 6 years, he's been in this business for a long time, because I've known Chris forever. And Megan and Connor are kind of, in some ways, kind of newbies to this, because Mark's been running the place for a long time. So Chris, I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, John, right away, going back to, as soon as we got shut down in March, like I said before, the meaning of St. Patrick's Day and the March Madness tournament, this time of year is when everybody usually goes on family vacations, and it's slow in the summertime for us. So what we're counting on was that St. Patrick's Day money, that March Madness money, to help carry us through this slow summer. And now, of course, we got the PPP money, but that's ran out, and we're starting back over again, and just hoping that there's no sanctions that we got to shut back down. because if there's a second shutdown, I don't know if we could survive over here, to tell you the truth. You know, with rent and all your utilities and bills that you have to pay monthly. And not only that, there's the hidden stuff that nobody really thinks about, the insurance, you know, all the little bills that are coming in that hurt you the most. You know, I'm hoping to get back to normal here soon. But, you know, it's been rough. I can't say anything less than it's been rough on us here.
Megan and Connor?
Well, just what Chris said, you know, March was everything. It's huge for us. It typically carries us through the summer. Well, it's our operating expenses for the year. And in summertime around here, we're directly across from the county courthouse. So, you know, lunch has always been traditionally pretty steady. But summertime, people are going on vacation. So it takes a dip for lunch. And things that would make up for it for us would be downtown activities. You know, something going on at the Commons or at the Great Southern or on the Scioto Mile. You know, sometimes we would get people coming in for dinner or a drink, you know, in connection with an activity downtown. And now that we don't have that, I think it was a good call for us to close in the evenings, because there's nothing worse than languishing in an empty bar for hours on end. So, you know, that's our new normal for right now. But we're looking forward to, in the fall, I just heard, I'm not a big sports fan, but I heard that Notre Dame might be, they're playing some games. And we're a Notre Dame bar. So, so hopefully we get something from that, where we can have people come in. Maybe we close down the bar and make it a private event for the Notre Dame club. I don't know. We're trying to be flexible and just go with the flow and just hang on. But I agree with Chris. If there was another shutdown, I don't know that we could survive it. And like I just told Connor the other day that we can't looking at last year's numbers, and what we did is torture, because it's not even, it's not a fair comparison. So success for us will be if we're still here this time next year.
And Shanna, I didn't mean to indicate that you were not been in the business for a long time. I just mentioned that your business is brand new. I know that you're a wily veteran, but I just meant that your business is brand new. But please, go ahead.
No, that's totally fair. Our stories align. I don't know if another shutdown, you know, would allow us to survive. But and that's, I mean, like Chris said, you have overhead that doesn't change depending on your customers. Of course, you know, your food cost changes with how many meals you serve, but your rent does not. And some of those smaller bills, your insurance does not. And so, you know, I think that, you know, being safe, which is very vital, so that customers feel comfortable still being able to come out and get, you know, their meals and whatnot, if, you know, when they need it. So it's important to us to do that. But another shutdown would be terrible. Like I mean, I don't know how to. It's almost like just like that direct correlation. I mean, a shutdown and no money coming in, it's not going to work. We thought that, you know, just being a new business, we thought that the summertime was really going to be a good takeoff for us, because we were, you know, a new vegan spot. Summertime, we're small, so you know, the patio being open. In March, we're gearing up to be, you know, we thought it would be just like January and February. We're making these changes. We got plans to buy equipment and stuff. And, you know, everything just powered down. So, and consistency is a big part of being able to operate your restaurant. If you can't, you know, if you're doing 200 one day and 1,200 the next day, and you don't never know when that's going to happen, you know, that, and that's basically what's happening in these times, is that the consistency is not there. It makes it very difficult to run a restaurant. So especially a brand new restaurant. So I'm definitely hoping that things level out and that people are still able to support some things, but a lot of people are not working and don't have the same income. So, you know, I'm usually cheerful, but it's hard to really look that in the face and still be
Well,
optimistic.
And also, John, you know, we're not getting the parties that we used to get. I used to do 2 or 3, 4 parties a month, whether it's a birthday party, a corporate party, a family party. You know, your family's been in here for Sunday dinner. You know, we just can't do those things anymore with 15, 20 people. And, you know, the more I look at it, that's a huge part of my income, you know, cutting
Yeah.
out those 5 or 10 parties I was going a month also.
yeah, when I was in the business, the parties always were what helped me survive. I know
Yeah.
Doug does parties all the time. I mean, those parties are huge. Well, look, we're running short on time, so I want to ask one last question before we close down. Look, the lifeblood of every place are your people, your employees. When I was in the business, that was what I mean. You guys, some of you guys know my story. When I was in the business, that was what almost killed me. Was living every day trying to make sure that my employees had enough, that my employees were taken care of, and that was that was what put more stress in my life than anything else. Tell me about your employees. Tell me about some of the obstacles that they're facing. Shanna, let's start with you.
Well, I have a small staff. They're great. They've stuck it out. A lot of my staff I had to let go, and they filed for unemployment, and just tried to take care of themselves. And then the few people that were left, I had to just keep my ear to their pulse and make sure that they're okay, because they're not getting the same hours, they're not getting the same money, and wherever we can fill in the gaps, because we don't want to lose people in the restaurant industry. When you have a good person, you don't want to lose them. So, we're just doing whatever we can to make sure that our employees are good and give them, hours as we can, and just do our best. We're a real tight family though. So, everybody's just trying to keep their spirits up and stay in the game.
Good. Megan, Connor.
Go ahead.
We're running out of time. Connor, let's go.
Yeah. We were able to retain most people. We have a pretty good group of employees here. And as they came back, everyone kind of understands the situation and knows we have reduced hours, and everyone's okay with that. And thankfully, everyone's looking out for each other, and we're trying to do the best we can by each of them and by helping them out. But
Chris, I know most of your people, your family.
Yeah, I got a lot of others too, but I was able to keep everybody on payroll, which is the biggest thing, to make sure that everybody was at least getting something. And also during the carryout, what I was doing, John, was I was making everybody split tips equally. So even if you didn't work, they were still getting some money coming in. And not only with the upfront staff, I was making them split with everybody. So my kitchen guys were getting a part of the tips, also with the staff out front. So I think I kept everybody happy that way, and I didn't lose anybody, and everybody came back. So
I'm glad I was giving those big tips then.
I think that's what kept my kitchen guys in the game, or else I might have lost them.
Good. All right. Well, I lied. I know we're probably over time here, but I am going to ask y'all one last question. I know you don't like to promote places other than your own places, but during this pandemic, we all want to support other people. So give us one other place that you get carry out from other than your own place. If you had to go get some carry out, what's one other place that you get some carry out from if you're not getting carry out from your own place? Shanna? Maybe don't promote another vegan place so you're not hurting yourself.
Well, I've been to the Royce. I've been to Woodhouse Vegan, but they are vegan. Sorry, but I love their food. BK Smokehouse.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's not at all vegan right there.
That's not vegan at all. Well, my family's not vegan, so. But yeah, those are a couple places definitely stayed in the game, and I love their food.
Good. Connor and Megan.
I'd say DK Diner in Grandview.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Tony's Italian restaurant down the street.
And if you're thirsty, Burns Pub. Welcome.
Great. Chris?
Well, of course, Melio's. And also I go to Moretti's at Dublin a lot. So I really love those two places.
Good. Excellent. Thanks, guys. We try to do that on here as often as we can to try to support other folks. So, all right. Well, we got to go. We're over time. I appreciate it. This hour went really fast. You guys were great. Appreciate you guys coming on here. Want to make sure that folks definitely understand the plight that you guys are dealing with and all the things that you guys are faced with. And there's just so much that we want to make sure you do. So as we close, you can find all the information that we've talked about tonight, and a lot of other information for folks in this industry at commissioners.franklincountyohio.gov or through our Economic Development and Planning Department on their website, which is development.franklincountyohio.gov. There are some other tools that folks in the restaurant industry can use and be helpful to them at those websites. We'll continue hosting these commissioners' conversations, so keep watching for details. We always post that information on all our social media accounts and all of our channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and Nextdoor. Of course, we want to reach as many of our residents as possible. So if you're talking to friends and neighbors, tell them about this and that we'll be streaming conversations like these on a regular basis and posting them to our website. Until next time, I am John O'Grady, President of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, along with my guest tonight, Shanna Dean from the Lifestyle Cafe, Megan and Connor Dempsey from Dempsey's Food and Spirit. Do a little wave again. And Chris Hale from Hale's Ales. And thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope that this was useful for everybody. Keep watching here for information on other sessions. We'll have something again next Thursday, I believe. And it'll be announced soon. And remember, folks, to stay safe, wash your hands, and wear your damn mask. All in this together. Take care, everybody. Good night. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.